Hello everybody, welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the whole MrBeast versus Soar Turner situation, in which, of course, Turner himself made a lot of allegations against MrBeast. You're probably aware of that situation. I made a video about this just a couple of days ago, and of course, today I have a lot of updates about it because, well, a lot has happened with this situation over the last few days. I have some exclusive chats with Turner that I would like to share. I guess if you want to consider it almost like an exclusive interview, he answered some of my direct questions that I asked him. I have some exclusive insights, some exclusive evidence that he sent me. I'll be talking about the interview that he did with Kavos, and I'll also be talking about a little bit of the evidence that he provided in his own video that he uploaded to his channel talking about the whole thing, along with MrBeast's side of the story, because he did respond to the whole thing through Keemstar on Drama Alert. I want this video to kind of clearly wrap up the whole situation in case this really is the end of everything, but honestly, I don't really see this being the end of the situation. Truth be told, I really don't think everything has come out in the open. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video now. Well, Turner did an interview with Kavos where he tries to basically reinforce many of the points that he made on Twitter by actually going through these stories. First, he talks about the whole project files being deleted thing. Now, apparently this happened working on a video where MrBeast was asking him to add up all of the totals of money being given away, which according to MrBeast was supposed to equal $500,000. Now, Turner did not get $500,000 while working on this project, which of course MrBeast did not take too kindly to, and this basically caused him to delete the project file and tell him to start all over again. Well, of course, because the number would never add up to 500,000, apparently MrBeast's math was wrong. Turner would never get 500,000 while trying to work on the project. That total just never existed. Turner claimed that oftentimes YouTubers who would use this type of format would clickbait. They would give an example of basically if they give away $7,000, they say they give away $10,000. Now, honestly, this is extremely plausible. I believe him 100% when he says this. It's just how YouTube works. Of course, you know, over-exaggerating things in the title, you know, clickbaiting things. It's just how it goes, man. Well, anyways, after repeatedly not being able to get that value that MrBeast wanted him to get out of it, MrBeast apparently continued to delete these project files, which actually upset Turner. Turner went for a walk to another employee's office to seek some help, which MrBeast took as him talking behind his back, causing him to apparently go into a frenzy, call him mentally retarded, tell him to get back into the room and finish the video, and essentially just lose it. This apparently all took place over a time frame of about 4 to 5 days. You know what, I'm just gonna show it now. Anyway, this is supposedly the image that proves that MrBeast is actually deleting the project file in the video from Turner, but it's circumstantial evidence at best. I mean, if you had a camera available to you and you wanted to get proof so badly of MrBeast doing this, why didn't you just record a video showing him doing it, you know? But I mean, I guess any evidence is better than no evidence at all, I guess. Another topic that Turner covered was how MrBeast helped him so much, of course. Now, he said he wasn't able to take anything away from MrBeast and that he wasn't totally a bad person. He was just talking about his experience working under him. MrBeast even gave Turner a severance pay after he left the team and recommended Turner for his current position in Soar Gaming. After all of this, Turner said that MrBeast did not want people to succeed after they left the team, according to the interview. Turner, you have to understand that this is a position that a lot of people would love to have. And then Turner, of course, acknowledges that it is an uphill battle, you know, coming out with a story like this and whatnot, and he came out and claimed that he was not clout chasing with this move. The only clout chasing he claims he's ever done with this whole situation is actually with his first video, in which he claims that some of it was fabricated. But he has to understand why people think that this really is all just a big clout chasing move, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he says that he doesn't need clout because he hardly uploads, but realistically, it's not a valid reason for me personally. I mean, who's to say you wouldn't start uploading if this went viral? Who's to say you wouldn't get more editing clients if this went viral? Who's to say your name being blown up like this wouldn't make your name huge in the editing scene or whatever, to the point that it was essentially a billboard? And I'm not saying that to accuse Turner. I'm making this as a point. Turner also admits that much of his first video is about MrBeast, you know, the whole first year video, the best year of my life video. He admits that a lot of it is just him essentially lying for clout, saying that the video was about 65% 100% the truth. He says that in that video, a lot of it is him stretching the truth about his feelings, about the whole thing, basically to get on MrBeast's good side. He also says that a lot of him defending MrBeast publicly was actually influenced by the momager. He'll often call the mom, the manager, momager, as she would want someone from the team to go on Twitter and defend them from the claims being made. This is one of the few times he directly addresses one of my points in the interview. Still doesn't really add clarity as to why he specifically was selected to do this. Regardless, it happened, but then there's an interesting point that I want to touch upon with his entrance to Soar Gaming. So remember how MrBeast apparently recommended him into Soar Gaming? Well, as you can tell, MrBeast approached him and personally helped him basically by recommending him to Crude, who is the leader of Soar, to get him into Soar. There's a chance he might not be in Soar today without this recommendation. But remember, he doesn't want people to succeed after they leave. But apparently Turner hasn't made any money from Soar, but this isn't MrBeast's fault, of course. You'll see here that Turner tweeted from a private account on May 8th of 2018, tweeting about how MrBeast called him retarded, essentially detailing the now popular incident and claiming that he wanted to be in contact with Keemstar when needed, insinuating that realistically he's been planning to bring all of this into public view for a long time now. I mean, well, at least for about, a year and a half now? He also showed other DMs that he thinks prove that other staff also think that Jimmy or MrBeast is also providing a toxic work environment, but as you can see in one of them, it's literally just someone rambling on about how stressful it is. Honestly, any job can be stressful. I don't really call that evidence of someone treating you like complete and utter trash. One also says that nothing has changed, some things have also gotten worse. It isn't specific enough to directly prove anything either in my opinion. This person could have thought that the work environment was neutral and stayed neutral while other things just degraded and you thought it was bad for all we know. I am taking a skeptical approach, I know, but that's because there's a lot of damning allegations made here against somebody, and I don't really think it's fair to just go, oh yeah, this is what happened. Oh yeah, that had to have happened when, something very plausible could likely be the case from these screenshots. I mean, if you had a screenshot from one of these employees that said, I'm so tired of MrBeast constantly berating me all the time for my work, I get really sick and tired of constantly coming to work every day and being bullied by MrBeast or Jimmy and constantly having to deal with the managers constantly picking on me, that would have been another story. That would have been proof of what you're saying. But in a situation where they're just saying, I'm so tired of being stressed out by this job, that just really doesn't do it for me, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Now, before we get into MrBeast's side of the story, because he has commented on this, I want to provide some of Turner's final pieces of evidence and provide his direct answers to my questions that I asked him. Turner sent me this picture of a DM between him and someone else, as you can see, where they're detailing their experiences around the crew of MrBeast and talking about this other person declining what I understand to be the opportunity to work there. This person said that they just didn't enjoy the vibe of the place, they liked the editors and Jesse, but the management was toxic along with the mom. But they had a great experience. They didn't mess with the vibe. The management was toxic. They didn't like the mom. But hey, great experience. Kind of confusing, honestly, but take that as you will. I've had some bad jobs, okay? I had a job, and you can go back in my previous videos and I've talked about these jobs. I literally walked out within like a week of my first job because it was just so horrible working there. The place pretty much sucked all around. It wasn't a good place to work at. I wouldn't be like, I didn't mess with the vibe. The management was toxic. I didn't really like the other employees except for the one friend that I had that worked there. The place was disgusting. It still doesn't pass any of like the health inspections or anything. But hey, it was a great experience working there even though I quit within the first week. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Something about that doesn't add up. At least to me. He also sent me a tweet from a user claiming that, quote, everyone in Greenville and Aiden hates MrBeast. He actually does bully and make people out to be who they are not. His own brother is not in his videos and left because of these reasons. Also, some of the money videos are fake. Now, I would say that this would be proof if a bunch of people from Greenville and Aiden came out in unison and they said that they hated MrBeast, but honestly, from what I can tell, this is just a random person on Twitter speaking for two cities and making claims without providing any form of evidence. Like if we had a bunch of confirmed citizens of Greenville or whatever, like in a town hall meeting, complaining that this guy's just out here being a nuisance, that's one thing. Anyone can just kind of go on there and say whatever they want. Now, one other person did come out and say that they know people who had bad experiences with him, but once again, there is no evidence. It's just a he said, she said kind of thing. And as someone who's taking this whole thing purely on a I need evidence to believe your claim kind of basis, can't really just say, oh, I really believe this one. I know 56 people who stood tall on the moon. I can't prove it, but I said it, so yeah, it must be true, right? You have to believe me. Now, I don't want to say that they're lying about this. I don't want to say that they're just not telling the truth. I'm just saying that I can't believe what they're saying until evidence is brought forth. You know what I'm saying? But Turner also sent me another screenshot of his private Twitter from April 25th of 2018 where he details his frustration with another editor not being credited for their work even though everyone knew their role. He says, while misspelling, "I wish that Beast just wanted everyone to succeed. And not just himself because I hate him. Aw man, I don't know, I'm just annoyed because I really wish everyone got to see what it was like working for this guy." Honestly, I think that his private Twitter screenshots are probably the best evidence that he has because not only are they time-stamped from the time that he was working, but also it's actually statements from himself while he was working that actually show he actually had these bad thoughts of the work environment at that time. If he literally had more of this type of evidence, I would say his case would be a lot stronger, but most of his evidence is based on he said, she said, circumstantial kinds of things, or text messages that, can just be of any context from someone else. But Turner answered my direct questions, and I was actually really happy to see that. I asked him a bunch of questions about the situation, I got his responses, which you'll get here. If MrBeast was so mean to you, why did you paint him so positively for so long? I didn't want to paint him negatively for fear of what's happening right now or being blacklisted from the editing community like the last guy to tell the truthful video about this, which in my video there's a screenshot showing his claims were true. Granted, I could have said nothing at the time, but there was a time I'll admit to clout chasing. At the time, I was fine with riding off the coattails of MrBeast's name under positive light. This was over a year ago. I finally worked up the courage to make this statement and provide all of the proof that I can. I've really shot myself in the foot with that video and I should not have lied with that video, but I did. Now you constantly keep admitting, oh, I clout chased with that video, oh, I clout chased, but the point is if you were willing to do it then, what is stopping you from doing it now? If, you keep saying, oh, I'm not doing it now. But the point is what's stopping you from doing it? Oh, I have no reason to. But you do have reason to. You can financially profit from it, whether you do continue to make videos or not. You can continue to get editing clients. You could continue to make YouTube videos. There are other avenues for you to make revenue from this. Once again, I'm not accusing you of clout chasing, I'm just bringing up this question. I'm sure Turner understands this, he seems to be a very understanding person. I've talked to him in DMs a decent amount. Turner seems to be a pretty understanding person of this, however, let me continue. Why did you put out a video detailing the best year of your life containing MrBeast in it if he was so mean and abusive to you? In that video, MrBeast is in it 2 or 3 times as opposed to the rest of the team in it tons of times. Videos like that are for me, and those days as a whole were fun times due to everyone else. This is a non-answer to my question, Turner. I asked you why you put out a video detailing the best year of your life containing him in it if he was so mean and abusive to you, not how many times he was in it, and what was going on with that. If he was so mean and abusive, why would he be in a video containing the best year of your life? If I was mugged and robbed, and believe me, I've almost been mugged and robbed, I would never put my mugger or robber in a video detailing the best experiences of my life. And it's good that you had, good experiences with the rest of the team. I'm glad that you have good memories with them. It's a good thing that you have good memories with them, but I wish you would have given me a little bit better of an answer with this. And considering the fact I feel like there's gonna be a little bit more that goes on with this story, if there is another chance for me to make a video surrounding this situation, I will feel free to include another answer to this if you do decide to answer any more of these questions again. Or even if there isn't actually another video surrounding this, I will allow you to re-answer some of these questions and I will put your answers on Twitter for you, or if you just want to tweet them out, you can do so. Can you detail specifically how you went about trying to get things across with the momager? How often, or how were these things so often blown off? It didn't matter how I tried to say anything, whether I say I feel bullied, attacked, or anything, the mom would automatically take Jimmy's side. In my video, I provided texts between me and an old manager talking about how toxic they would make the workplace. What is your actual intention behind bringing all of this into public view? I'm asking this just for the record. Just to share my experience, I have no other intention. You are not going to see me start uploading a bunch of content now that this has happened and attempting to profit off of this. That's why originally this was just a thread of tweets. Why do so many of your statements contradict previous statements that you've made? For instance, you say that you were constantly in tears and at the point of mental breakdowns in your daily and your initial posts but then when asked at one point about, why you had MrBeast in your best year video, you responded with, quote, fun times still. Everything aside from Jimmy, aka MrBeast, made the job fun. I'd have fun times on shoots with the rest of the gang. Still fun times, my experience with Jimmy, which was the original conversation, just sucked. I guess I can understand this, but I think this is something that you probably should have clarified a little bit better when you first came out with this entire thing, just saying. Is being called mentally effing retarded the furthest that name-calling ever went with MrBeast towards you? Yes, but it is the consistency, and that is why I labeled it bullying. Are you the only person that you're aware of that MrBeast was abusive towards? Absolutely not, but I do not think anyone will back me up and lose their job. If you weren't able to prove everything right when you claimed it on Twitter, why did you initially tweet everything out knowing that people were going to question you? I didn't really think this would start a war. I wanted to keep it just at a couple tweets. People claiming something that literally happened as a fact to not have taken place is weird. People saying this is hard to believe, understandable. People claiming it as a fact, this never happened, odd. Honestly, I find this one kind of weird. It's like you made pretty remarkable claims, for lack of better words, just off the top of my head, about an extremely popular, beloved YouTuber that you formerly worked for. And, I think that's something that people are going to take some attention to. How come you first said you couldn't get a video out until next weekend and then said you could get the video out sooner when the topic, quote, blew the F up? I go to a university, my video equipment is at home. At first, I was going to wait and go home on the weekend, but once the amount of people who were sending me hundreds of tweets saying terrible things, I drove home to make that video. The longer that there was no video, the worse people became, so after being sick of only getting hate, I just needed to try to put a stop to it with a video. Granted, it's only gotten worse, quote, since Keem's outdated video, but that was my intention. This is a plausible explanation, and I'm glad that he kind of explained this one off. However, I think, once again, this is something that you really should explain when you actually say this. Turner, my guy, okay? You come out and you say these things in public, and this is just some personal advice in the video. I know you're going to watch it. We've had these personal discussions. I know you're going to watch the video. You go out and you make these public, you talk publicly, and I feel like you don't really plan ahead for what's going to happen when you say something publicly, man. You gotta be ready for what's going to happen, what people are going to say. When I say this, how are people going to respond? You gotta be ready to explain yourself, man. A lot of your responses to people have either been you blowing their remarks off or straight up memes. For someone who expects to have their whole situation here taken seriously, why is it that you took this approach? And if this is as serious as you say, why are you memeing people in the comments like that? I would start to send memes once I had already answered the same question dozens of times. Eventually, I was sick of answering tweets, so if one seemed to get attention, I'd just send memes. This was in the beginning of the situation. For sure, it's something I've stopped doing. It's probably a good thing because it looked really immature, and it's something I've done in the past too, and it's something you kind of have to learn the hard way, but especially in a situation this serious, yeah, it's something you definitely didn't want to do, man. So that is his direct answers to my questions. Now let's go ahead and see what MrBeast had to say about the situation. So MrBeast gave a response through Keemstar on Drama Alert, stating that when Turner left, they gave him $10,000 in severance and also helped him land his current position with Soar Gaming. Now when I first heard this, I was stunned, man. I was like, $10,000 in severance to an editor? That, first off, that's absolutely unheard of to me, at least, alongside finding him another job and like recommending him. However, Turner has disputed these claims to me directly in DM, stating that the $10,000 figure that MrBeast was using is actually about the amount that he made altogether while he was with them in salary. Turner stated that with severance he made about $10,000 to $15,000 under MrBeast, probably closer to $15,000, and he never made any money from Soar. From my logic and understanding, that would mean he probably got about $5,000 severance, unless, regardless, which even then, for a YouTube editor, is really a great chunk of change, on top of finding another position to recommend you into. Most YouTube editors don't get any severance at all, so the fact that he got this much is still nuts. All in all, it's just gotten really confusing, At first, I just simply couldn't believe much of anything that Turner had to say because he just had no evidence at all, but at least now he has a little bit of evidence for some things. Most of what he provided, at least in my opinion, doesn't prove anything of what he's saying directly, or it's just circumstantial. However, he does kind of have a point with at least some of these private Twitter tweets. At this point though, I just think Turner approached much of the situation in the wrong regard altogether. He brought out all of this without evidence in the first place, just basically bashing MrBeast MrBeast, and then once everyone had turned against him, he then basically brought out all the evidence, and much of it doesn't really prove anything with any realistic, concrete proof. It's ridiculous. But now, do I believe the whole story? No. I can't, because there isn't enough evidence here to believe it all. But there are parts of it that I can believe. I can believe that the work environment was bad, especially for someone like Turner, who apparently couldn't follow the directions that MrBeast wanted him to. I can definitely believe that. I mean, your boss has expectations of you. It's their right to have expectations of you when they hire you, because they're paying you to do a job. When they ask you to do a job, you have to do it, or you just quit or get fired. You know what I'm saying? I mean, should they call you names and whatnot? Probably not. They probably shouldn't do that. But I still, for some reason, feel like that there's more to this whole thing that isn't coming out from either one of these sides, maybe even both. I don't know why, but that's just how I feel. I just still can't fully believe Turner just yet, because there's just not enough evidence that's concrete. I'm not saying he's full on making the whole thing up for attention, he just doesn't have enough actual evidence to prove what happened for me to say it happened for sure. When it really comes down to it, I just think that as it stands right now, he just got yelled at and got his feelings hurt. You know what I'm saying? And maybe to a certain extent, yeah, it got taken a little bit too far, but I'm gonna wait and see if more comes out from either side in this whole thing before I make like a final opinion. And if nothing else comes out, then, well, there just isn't enough evidence here for me to say MrBeast is a horrible person and he's just out here, destroying people's lives when he's, housing people for free, giving them severance pay for editing YouTube videos and things like that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here. On my channel, follow me over on Twitter at SubToptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there. It's a surefire way to get notifications of all my newest content. Join the Discord down below. Lots of great things going on down there as well. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, providing evidence and signing out.